Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Grab Elwood. Many of you just jumping over from the Jimmy Dore live chat. He had Nick Brown on from Movement for a People's Party. Just want to welcome everybody to the chat. Please share this on your social media. And of course, we are simulcasting on the Rockfin. And well, we're on YouTube, obviously, but we are also on Facebook. We're live streaming on Facebook. So everybody, yeah, we're going to have Dave Anthony from the Dollop on here in a second. So hello from Detroit. We're going to talk about everything that is happening currently in this fine, robust democracy that we've got. It's just exciting. And we're going to talk about, we're going to update on what's going on. Obviously, everything's up in the air now. And as predicted, all the stuff that we thought Trump's disputing shit because he's a crybaby bitch. And so are all of his punk ass followers. And him and Biden are both worthless bags of shit. So if you're a Trumper that's mad, this show might help you get through it, knowing how much we don't like the Democrats on this program as well. We're going to get into how many ways the Democrats have failed. Oh God. And a lot of good news. We're going to cover a lot of good news that have come out of the election because obviously, and it's a thing I talk about a lot on the show, local elections, local ballots, and there's all this progressive victories that have happened, showing once again that the Democratic Party, if they would have actually, instead of screwing over the progressive Bernie Sanders, it would just be a slam dunk right now. But we're going to get into that in a second. So please hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. We have 200 and some people watching, 51 likes. And what is up? Kate is our moderator. She should be joining us any second if she's not here already. Of course, a great way to support the show is to hit the super chat icon button. YouTube makes it. I was trying to do a super chat during Jimmy's show, and it took me like 3 or 4 times. So I'm well aware of how much they're trying to screw us over. And of course, so hit the like button and voted green in Jersey. Of course, you didn't get notification. No, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, this is it's like Costa Rica jersey. Yes, this is the Costa Rica jersey that they had in the 2018 World Cup. I was down in Costa Rica then. So right on. Teresa 78201, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice, saw your ad on Jimmy Dore. Right on. If you're joining us from the Jimmy Dore Show, make sure you hit the subscribe button, folks. YouTube has literally been unsubscribing. I was at 73,600, 700, somewhere in there about 3-4 weeks ago. Now I'm at 73,000. So, yeah. Trump's always been mad, but he's another level. I'm from Australia, so I don't have an agenda either, but I just seen some crazy going on. Yeah. So especially so people have been getting unsubscribed. Here's crazy shit that's been happening. People have been getting unsubscribed from this channel. And then like, I was on Uphill Media this morning and they're like, yeah, they deliberately unsubscribe themselves from like TYT or whatever. And then they get resubscribed to that. Oh God. All right, let's bring from the Dollop, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the show Dave Anthony. Dave, how you doing today, buddy?
Hi, I'm all right. It's so funny you're talking. I used to get massive waves of having people unsubscribe from me on Twitter. Like I would, in one of my benches just going off, I would have like 1,000 people drop a day. And then I started calling them on it and it stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's every YouTuber that I know that's any sort of lefty indie media person is getting, like Kyle Kalinske. I was talking to Jimmy today. Everybody's getting unsubscribed. It's nuts. I was climbing hard. When the when the shutdown happened, I started going live like 4 or 5 days a week, and I went from like 60,000 to 70,000 subscribers just in a couple months. And then I can't seem to break past 73, 70. I can't get to it. So,
Yeah, I mean that's why you got to have Redfin and stuff like that, ready to go, right?
Yeah, you have to. Rockfin, you mean? Redfin is the
sorry, Rockfin. Yeah, you got to get a house.
Start house shopping. Now's the time. Now's the time. So welcome to the Political Vigilante, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Graham Elwood. I'm joined here by my friend and host of the Dollop podcast, Dave Anthony. Dave, first of all, let's go through. I want to just show everybody where we're at here. It is Wednesday night. There still is not a declared winner, and this is the electoral map so far that we've seen as of right now. They won't declare Arizona.
Although Fox has, which is interesting.
It's so interesting. Fox is already like, well, Biden won. Like Fox is saying that. But
yeah, I'm not sure if Fox is ready to cut him loose and move on to the next thing. That's how it feels. Because apparently they threw a big fit when Fox did it, calling Fox, yelling at Fox. Trump called Murdoch himself, and Murdoch said, "We're not changing it. Go blow." So, interesting things happening. No one else is calling it except for Fox.
Yeah, it's weird. And because if you look here, Biden has, a thin lead, and Maricopa County, there's still, there's like 200,000 outstanding ballots or something like that in Maricopa County. Now, Maricopa is
county.
It's a Republican county typically, but you have the city of Phoenix in there, which has probably more Democrats in it, theoretically.
And then there's two other locations that are outstanding that are heavily Democratic. One is a college campus, so I don't think that's going. I think that's Biden from what I'm reading. Yeah,
and then you look to Nevada, it's now even bigger for Joe Biden. Because all of these counties, it
is such an indictment to lose Nevada. And we all know what the work Bernie did in Nevada. We all know the outreach he did to the Latino community, and Nevada should be a walk for any Democrat who's not a total piece of shit. Yes. Especially, I think Nevada used to be way more just pure conservative, but because you've had so many Californians over the last 10 years have been moving there. You have, all the workers. And let me tell you something. People don't realize, or they're not aware of this. All the casinos are union. I mean, the blackjack dealers, the housekeepers, those are all union jobs. So when you come in with any sort of union presence like Bernie did, it's Joe Biden is, should be walking away with this, but it's like, it's so, and the fact that he has this and it looks like he might win is really because of Bernie. Now, what is happening in Michigan it's very tight, and Trump is already claiming foul. He's doing the thing we thought he was going to do, which is say he's talking about filing lawsuits. And there's people chanting. I want to show this. I want to show there's people chanting. This is my Twitter feed. I want to show you. I saw this on. This is Detroit's absentee ballot counting center. Okay. So they're disputing it. They're covering up the windows. That doesn't help. I mean, what are you doing? Why are you covering the windows? That just makes them go a little bit more crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You don't cover the fucking windows. Just let them see in and count the goddamn ballots.
Yeah. Let people see in. And then it says this guy, Matt Finn, who was a Fox News reporter, Some of the windows remain blocked off. I asked a few people who taped them up and why. No clear answer. A few poll challengers / workers tell us they feel there weren't a fair number of Republicans and Democrats in the room. Secretary of State's office gave us this response, which is there are poll challengers who have a legal avenue to address any legitimate concerns regarding any rules they claim were not followed. This has been a bipartisan, open, and transparent process from the beginning, with a record number of Republican challengers observing it. The individuals who made these claims to you said they were challengers, which means they have the ability to bring any violation they thought had occurred to the election inspectors. So and then there's all these conspiracy wingnuts saying everything's been to cheat. You know, Trump is claiming cheating. So, I mean, look, this is something you
Trump
and
he's not just claiming cheating. He sent out this email. I warned the nation. The Democrats will try to steal this election. Just like I predicted from the start, mail-in ballots are leading to chaos like you've never seen. Plain and simple. The radical left is going to do whatever it takes to try and rip a Trump-Pence victory away from you, and that's why I'm coming to you now. I need your help to ensure we have the resources to protect the results. We can't allow the left-wing mob to undermine our election. I'm asking my fiercest and most loyal defenders like you to fight back. So we know what that is.
Yeah, that's him saying arm up and come down to the polling stations. I mean, this is a thing we've been worried about for a long time. I mean, Greg Palast said it on Monday on Jimmy's show that he's and these sort of call to arms, sort of cryptic ones at that. But at some point, someone's going to say, either Trump or somebody within his campaign is going to say, hey, and they're literally at one of the places they were chanting, stop the count, like the most undemocratic thing I've ever seen in my life. Stop.
Well, and let's just also not just dumb, but really fucking stupid because he's already behind. Right. So they're saying stop the count so he loses. Like,
right.
He already is. You want them to count now, you fucking idiots. Like,
Jesus. Right. Isn't that, don't you want, you're like, oh, there's some hidden secret wave of Trump voters in these ballots. That's what you want. If you stop counting, okay, all right, you're done. He lost now.
You lost. Yeah.
So he's out.
They're not a bright bunch.
They're not. they're not a bright.
I mean, I just look at that crowd and I go, how many of them are QAnon? How many think that this is a grand conspiracy by the, oligarchs of the whatever, Soros and the elders of fucking protocol and all that shit? There's some scary people involved in this whole mix. And those are the ones I worry about.
Yeah, so that's the thing I worry about. It's, and as this drags on, there's places in Georgia that are still, that they're still counting now. They're primarily in like Fulton County, which is Atlanta, which is very, very Democrat. Right, that's the one where they're like, that's the one they should beg for stop counting, because that's the one that if they count, there's all these outstanding ballots in Fulton County. Right now, Trump has a lead in Georgia. So if Trump loses Georgia,
it's over.
He
can't win without Georgia.
He has no chance. If Wisconsin and Michigan hold for Biden, and
those are pretty much done. I think he lost those. I don't know how those change.
And then there's then if he gets Arizona and Nevada, then it's over. Then Biden doesn't even need Georgia or North Carolina or Pennsylvania. He doesn't need them if he gets Wisconsin.
I think if he gets Georgia and I think it's Arizona, I think it's done. I think. But it's math. But definitely if he gets Nevada and Arizona, that's gone.
Yeah. So it's. I don't know. It's, and the thing, we're all wondering if it looks like Trump's going to lose at some point, does he just say, not coded words like that email, but does he just say, get your guns and go get them? Like, when does he do that?
He absolutely does. He absolutely does. This has been one of my two predictions from the beginning of Trump's thing is that number one, he tells all of his followers to kill us publicly. It's always been my prediction. And the reason is I think that it's a psychology thing. My wife's a psychologist. We've talked a lot about what we think his psychological problems are. He's probably a extreme borderline personality narcissist, but they can't. There's a reality that's exterior, that's the real reality, and then they have an interior psychological reality, and they're not the same thing. And so they have to bend the world to their inner psychology, what they believe to be true, and then they can function up until reality goes, nope, that's not true. And once he can no longer bend his reality and make it work for him, and the only thing that can make that happen is a loss, then he goes fucking crazy.
Right. Because and to be clear, but when people say, oh, he's a narcissist, no, we're talking about narcissistic personality disorder, which is like a mental illness. A narcissist, and we're not talking about a narcissist. Oh, I like looking at myself in the mirror and aren't I pretty? Just sort of big ego. We're not talking about the actual personality disorder where like literally they can't admit they're wrong. They can't apologize. Like it's a disorder. It's a disorder like somebody who's like colorblind, just I can't see red. I can't see blue. Someone with narcissistic personalities or just they can't do it. And what you're saying based on talking to your wife, who's a professional, is that the minute reality, the outside reality just confronts the inner like story or lie that he tells himself, that's when he goes completely bananas.
Yeah.
And
it was the first thing she told me when he got elected. She said the thing we have to watch out for is the day that he can no longer deny reality or change reality to what he wants it to be. And once that day comes, then that's the big scary moment. And that's when he says, fucking kill them all.
Right. Or orders the military to just do something nuts, or just says, I'm not leaving. Or,
I mean, look, Barr today got told all of the places doing counts that I think local prosecutors that they could send Department of Homeland Security, the military down there to watch things into the fucking counting rooms. So that's just straight up South American CIA operative fucking bullshit, right? That's how the strongmen operate in all those countries that the CIA is funded for fucking years. Like that's the old school shit.
Yeah, it's so the question is, if Trump does that, will there be enough people like Republicans, even people at Fox News, even Trump supporter, not the wingnut culty ones. The culty ones they're cult members, and like any cult, they'll if the cult leader tells them to die, I mean, part of it, like I'm sure part of Trump's psychosis is like any cult leader is like, I want to kill all these people just to show them that I can, just like drink the Kool-Aid. Jim Jones. I mean, that's where the people understand that Jim Jones, if you do research into that event, the drink the Kool-Aid comes from him poisoning and telling people, I'm poisoning you and I'm going to kill you. Like, and you listen to the audio, there's some audio recordings. It's horrific, but Jim Jones was getting off on it. So when Trump does this, are there enough people who are going to just go, nope, you're done? Or do they go, yeah, with him? Or I'm a general, I follow my president. Like what are they? What do you see happening?
I mean, I think it splits just down into different factions. I think that in whatever group you're talking about, the Secret Service, the military, whatever, that there's ones who side with him and there's ones that won't. I think that we have a massive, and they are like a cult. The people I've talked to who've been arrested in the protests, who have spoken to cops, have said, no, this is a cult. The cops are in a cult. And so, that's all really problematic when it comes to what do they do? We don't know how much inroads Q has made, how much inroads just the basic sort of Fox mindset is, how much inroads the Alex Jones mindset is, and all of those places. We just don't know. And so you don't know until it shakes out, and then you have an idea. I'm sure in the military they are, I'm sure they're talking, and they're in different groups, and the generals know who's on whose side and who's not, and that kind of stuff all before coups happen, before we get to this period. They've already figured all that shit out. And we've had a massive Christian just psycho problem in the military for a while.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I can tell you, when I went to Iraq and Afghanistan, I saw a multitude of people there. I saw people who, were just as my duty. I felt patriotic. You saw people that were very right wing, but there was an element of the military that was, oh shit, I've frozen up. Everything's frozen up.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but goddamn, why did I freeze?
You
All
look
right.
pretty.
Thank you. It's a crazy freeze. I'm just looking up like a psycho.
You got your little curly hair thing going down right in the middle there.
All right,
it's all good. Look at this.
Oh Jesus, what's happening? Yeah. Once again, every once in a while, my computer just gets attacked by a robot bag of dicks, and there's just
is that the technical?
It is. If you go to the website, it says robot bag of dicks.
Sure. Yeah.
Dave, well, you're gonna have to entertain everybody while I try to figure this out real quick.
Yeah, no problem. So I can talk about what I watched a little bit earlier. I wanted to see what was going on Fox News. Tucker Carlson was on, and Tucker is, I think my personal call is he's the heir to Trump. I think that he will be the next guy running for president. But if you watch Fox News, America is under attack from Democrats. They are 100% absolutely stealing the election. They had someone from the White House on there who was talking about specific, they get into like specific groups of votes. Then these votes came in as in a bag at 7:52 p.m. And she brings up, she goes, 100% of those turned out to be Biden votes. And then Tucker must have said 6 or 7 times, 100,000 of the votes went to Biden. 100,000. And anybody who hears that is like, well, that's fucking insane. And number one, we don't know if it's true. Number two, even if that happened, it could have been 7 votes. Like, we don't know what the fuck it was. It could have come some little fucking town in the middle of nowhere. But they're 100% laying track on this is a stolen election. They had a guy from the Hoover Institute come on who talked about Nevada and just basically explained how that was being stolen. So they're going through, they are breaking down state by state how the election is being stolen, and it's really fucking disturbing. Because it's an alternate reality. If you ever watch Fox News, it's just, what the fuck is happening right now? And it's everything we expected. Look, everyone's talked about Red Mirage, and it's played out exactly as the experts on authoritarianism explained, and the people who talked about voting improprieties and all that. And it's going down exactly as they said. Trump would declare victory at night before the Democrat votes were counted as they came in, because they were mailed. And then he would yell that they were all, it was all fraud because they came in through the mail. They're counting votes they shouldn't count. They're all lies. I mean, they were basically saying, on Tucker, they're basically saying, how can you trust this process? How can you trust it? And it's like, well, because every state has the whole system that they've set up to trust it. Like, it's not our first rodeo. I mean, obviously we don't do it well, but there's a system in place, and now they're like, well, how do you trust anything? You're like, well, that's actually the whole fucking process. I mean, Tucker actually said the Democrats have changed rules that have been in place for hundreds of years. So 1800s. What are we talking about? How many rules are in place in the 1800s? How many voting rules? What kind of in the year 1800? How many? First of all, how many people are living in the country? How many people are living in? Oh, Texas isn't a state. Oh, okay. Oh, California is not a state. Oh, it's getting weird now. Like it's just fucking banana shit land over there, and it's really fucking disturbing. It is super disturbing what I watched.
So I just walked I just walked in you talking about the 1800s.
Tucker Carlson. I watched a little bit of Tucker Carlson, and he was talking about how the Democrats are now changing voting rules that have been in place for hundreds of years.
Wow. So he's,
they're setting it up over there. They're setting it up 100%. You watch that network, and it is 100% Democrats blatantly stealing.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. They're stealing all of this, even though the highest voter turnout that we've had, all the 96 million mail-in ballots, all of that stuff. They just think, nope, it's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's just, they're just unwielding on that.
It is so weird to be in this place where I fucking hate Biden. I fucking hate Biden.
Right.
I hate Kamala Harris. They are poisonous. They are fascists. They will usher in a worse fascism. And yet I have to fucking fight against Trump to just say, let's just do this. I just want to, just pick the fucking person. Don't steal the election. Now I'm fucking fighting for a guy who I fucking loathe.
I know. It's so bad. First of all, everybody, welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. We're joined by Dave Anthony, host of the Dollop podcast. We've got 675 people watching. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. We got 200 and some likes. Let's get the likes up to 600. We're talking about right now the election, of course, still hung in the balance. New York Times says Biden has 253. The Fox News poll is giving Biden more electoral votes. Which is I'm going to bring that one up, which is interesting. It's like we just live in bizarro land.
We really do.
I mean, the fact that, is really Fox being more genuine? I mean, I have a hard time. Yeah.
Well, you also have to think about the capitalism aspect of this, which is the news wants people to hang around for longer. Well, Fox News isn't going to lose viewers because they gave more to Biden, but CNN and MSNBC will have people drop out once the race is called or as it gets closer. Those people will. So capitalistic news wants to keep the viewers engaged. So they're going to call it.
That's an excellent point, because you're right. And there is nothing that the Fox viewer would love more than wait a minute, Michigan and Wisconsin, new ballot count suddenly go in Trump's favor. Like, they would love that. That would make for great ratings. But this is the Fox News right now.
Sorry.
They are giving Michigan. They gave Michigan to Biden. They gave Wisconsin to Biden. They gave Arizona to Biden, and Nevada they're not giving yet. It's too close to call. Pennsylvania right now, Trump has the lead. North Carolina, Trump has the lead. Georgia, Trump has a very, very thin lead, and that's the one they're counting. So that's the wild card right there. If somehow these new votes coming in Fulton County that are being counted, it's so funny. Like, and when they dispute it, I'll give credit. Like I believe that the registrar, the Secretary of State of Pennsylvania is like, no, this is the process. The reason it's taking long is because we're doing it right. Which is, and you, as you were saying earlier, we are lefties like us are put in the position of defending Joe Biden. Like it's like, wow, this is how crazy Trump is like, no, you count all the votes. And even Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz said this today. They said, you count all the votes. Even those guys said it. So it's like, it's such a that's a blatant cheater thing of don't count everything. And then even some of these Trump pundits, just say crazy bullshit like what they've sent out over 1 million ballots and not all of them have been. Where are those? And it's like, I'll tell you where they are. One of them's in my trash because I got sent. I got sent two. Because that's why. Like
Yeah.
I got. I moved. They sent it to the wrong address. I was waiting for one in the mail and I was panicked. I wasn't going to get it in time. So I went online in the state of California. You can print one up. You fill out this form. You can email it to them. Then you have to fill out another form and sign it, which acts as the signature on the outside of the envelope. But I went through this whole process. And so I could put that in the mail. And the woman was like, as long as it's postmarked by November 3rd, it'll be counted. So I postmarked it on Saturday. It went out priority mail. And then Monday, I got a ballot, the original one they were supposed to send me in the mail. So there's a bunch of those like that. Then there's also people who just get a vote by mail and then go, oh shit, there's a short line. I'm going to just go to my polling place. I've done that in the past too, because I've always been a vote by mail guy because I'm always on the road.
If anybody says to me, oh, a ballot came to my house. It was for someone who used to live here. Okay. So tell you what. So when everyone turns 18, everyone gets a voter card. And you always have that card with you. And you can vote with it. Are we fucking done with your bullshit? Are we done with your bullshit?
I know.
Why don't you make it easy to vote or shut the fuck up? Those are the two choices. Make it easy to vote or shut the fuck up. That's it. There's nothing else going on.
There's country after country after country. When you're 18, you vote. That's it. You just walk in with your driver's license. Oh, and they write you down so you can't vote twice. And there you go. Like, that's it. We have this Byzantine system by design to create these ridiculous things. And as you said, now with this capitalist corporate media, they want this dragged out. This is great ratings because if the decision was made last night, we're done talking about it. Mm-hmm. Now we're just talking about, okay, who won these seats and that thing and how do we move forward now?
I mean, there's 300 million people right now sitting around watching Maricopa County. Like, what the fuck kind of a system is that? I mean, it's just insane. Number one, they shouldn't be allowed to announce anything until the state is called. And the governor whoever signs off and it goes, okay, that's it. Election's called. Then they call it and they go, oh, well, look, Arizona came in. It went, why are we watching? Why is all you do when you have counting happening publicly like this, like, oh, 20 more ballots came in, 1,000 more ballots came in. You're inviting chaos. That's all you're doing. There's nothing good that can come out of that scenario. You have people in a room. You have someone from the Democratic Party and someone from the Republican Party. You don't have a green. You don't have a libertarian because those people are fucking crazy. So you just have the two really good, honest, decent parties, and they sit in there they've never done any corruption, and they sit in there and they watch the votes counted to make sure everything is on the up and up. And then they sign off on it. That's it. And then at the end of the day, they go, okay, so California went to Biden because we finished counting, and that's it.
And America has such an insane system, but Americans say it's awful and then still defend it. Like, that's the thing that's so puzzling to me is like, why are these two parties controlling the election process? No one should do that. It's like
corporations.
It's unbelievable. And Americans like you listen to people in other countries, they're like, wait, what? Your political parties run what are you talking about? And if that is the case, it should be like you talk about. Then there should be a green in the room, a socialist in the room, a libertarian in the room, a Republican, a Democrat, a communist, the Peace and Freedom Party. You mean, like, it should be the whole spectrum of people then. Like, it's the political parties are not mentioned in the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, and yet they control the election process.
The founding fathers, who I'm not a fan of, but they didn't want political parties. They thought it would be really bad if political parties existed, and then they immediately had. Right away there were political parties, like just right.
That's George Washington's farewell address. He said, "Don't form political parties."
Yeah,
he warned against it in his farewell address, and then everyone ran out and formed political parties. Which is just preposterous. I mean, historically, and you do a history podcast, we're looking at, the Whigs and the Federalists were big, powerful parties that were their own undoing. Mm-hmm. And so we're there. So how do you, like, I
Well,
just
I mean, they have it so locked down. I mean, go read Ralph Nader's, book about the election that he ran in. There's just laws and barriers and all kinds of shit to stop you from just being able to have. I mean, you see it in this election, right? The Democrats suing to get the Greens off the ballots in, Minnesota or wherever else. Well, that's been going on forever. They just have everything fucking locked down. They're just a nightmare system. I mean, we've gone through it in California. Bernie came in and said, "Hey, take over the party," and you try, but man, it is just a nightmare to do.
Yeah.
So, he ran into that everywhere, trying to get on ballots, being stopped from all kinds of stuff. So I don't think that there is a way to reform or work from inside the Democratic Party. I think that it's the only way out of this that I can see.
I don't know, Dave. I think you can reform from within. I think, come on, buddy. I mean, I'm joining a drug cartel and I'm going to get them to stop selling drugs and just sell vegan smoothies. And I think I can work. I mean, Dave, stop with the purity tests.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, no, I know. I'm a little bit of a hippie. I'm kind of crazy out there. You know what I mean? I'm just an old school 60s ish flower in the hair. I mean, that's just me. So I understand why Bernie did it. I understand when he worked with the system the first time, but the second time he should have just formed a party once his run was over. And what we need to do is form a leftist party. I think the People's Party is the right idea. And you form a party and it's off to the side and you say, okay, you're scared that if we form another party that we will just get Republicans elected. So we'll do this. When it comes around to election time for your president or your senators or whatever, the big ones that you're all worried about, you have to come to us and you have to give us what we want and we'll meet you in the middle. And then you can have our votes. So we'll be over here with our party. And when you have met our bare minimum requirements, we will then say, okay, we sign off on your fucking candidate. And that's the only way. And then with that, then we can entice people over and then we can destroy them. At some point, that left party just becomes far more popular and then they're dead.
Okay. So yeah, So, hey, everybody, thank you for watching Political Vigilante. If you just came over from the Jimmy Dore Show, please hit the subscribe button. YouTube is throttling us because they don't like truth. And so make sure
they like right-wing truth.
They like right-wing truth. They like right-wing truth. And they like nice corporate truth. Like they like that kind of truth. If I was really a fan of Goldman Sachs and talked about all the good work they were doing, I think I'd have more subscribers to my channel. If I did stuff about, Shell Oil spending $5 million a year on green technology. I go, wow, that's like you and I spending a nickel.
Shell's done great things in Nigeria. They're redoing the whole place. I mean, it looks so different. It's nice.
It should be a reality TV show like Remodel with Shell or whatever. It should be. Look,
we've redone your forest. It's like wet and slick now. You can slide on it.
It's another Shell makeover. Bing, bing, bing. Yeah, we're doing a makeover of your water table. Isn't this fun?
You can set it on fire.
You want to drink oil? We can do that now. So let's talk about this. If you're just tuning in, I'm here with Dave Anthony from The Dollop. Please hit the like button. I want to talk about how to just show how bad the Democrats are for picking Joe Biden. And they're like, oh, and they kept selling us on, Bernie or some progressive like that. And again, for me and you and many other Bernie supporters, we weren't diehards for the man. It was his policies. He was just the most left of any guy that had a legitimate shot. I mean, personally, I would have picked Mike Gravel over Bernie Sanders, but Gravel had no shot. Like Bernie was the furthest left of anybody that's ever had a legitimate shot at not only the Democratic nomination, but the White House. So, and they tried to sell us that it's not, these purity tests and you progressives, it's about the soul of the president's Twitter feed or whatever bullshit they were trying to sell us on. And remember that the soul of the president's Twitter feed, that was the thing we were really so I want to talk about several things like other states or down ballot things that have happened to blow up the Democratic Party's just not only, I don't know that it was a bad strategy, but just their blatant lies and they went towards, I mean, look, they had Republicans at their convention. This debate between Trump and Biden was a Republican primary, basically. And Biden has already said he's going to have a bunch of Republicans in his cabinet if he wins. And the fact that we're still a day later, still disputing this, and this might be disputed for days, if not weeks. Look at all these policies, and I want to bring this up on the screen, that have won. First of all, so Florida, which voted for Trump, had a super majority for $15 an hour minimum wage. What does that tell you? They voted for this most progressive pro-labor thing on their ballot. Overwhelmingly, more people voted for that than voted for Trump, who won the state. Like, that kind of shit is insane to me.
It's insane, but it also means that, the one thing Democrats don't want people to know is how many Trump voters would switch to someone like Bernie.
Of course.
That's their greatest fear, because a lot of those people aren't just pure ideological Republican nightmares. Some of them are just like, I just want fucking shit to work.
I want a job.
Yeah. And look, that's a great example of, if Bernie's running, well, he aligns with that. And Trump doesn't. And they might be like, yeah, but what doesn't align with it is the guy who put them in this position over 40 years.
Right. The guy who look, man, the guy who was vice president. I mean, that was the thing that Trump kept landing in the last debate was, why didn't you do this when you were vice president? Why didn't you do it? And Biden's like, oh, the Republicans stopped us. No. You had the House and the Senate. You had the House and the Senate. So you could have done all this. You're not some outsider that's finally broken through. You've been working inside. And it's so, and to that point, there's a bunch of other, I want to share. So also in Florida, they've got open primaries. So we are proud of a critical step forward open primaries took in Florida. 57% of Florida voters voted in favor of letting all voters vote. Again, that's more voters than voted for Trump. More voters voted for the Amendment 3 than either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Failing to achieve the 60% threshold for a constitutional amendment to pass in Florida must not obscure the broad support that exists for ending closed partisan primaries. Amendment 3 was vigorously opposed by both Democratic and Republican primaries, shocker, from day one, and still won 57% of the vote. While we are disappointed with the loss, because again, this is one of these things, Florida puts it's got to be a 60% to pass it.
Right.
So even though 50%, it doesn't pass, which also shows you then that the $15 an hour minimum wage passed well over 60%. So then they thank everybody. We reached over 1.2 million Floridians and have big plans for continuing to cultivate, communicate, and all that other stuff. All right. So there was that, which is like, that is,
well, that just shows that people just want things to be fair. I mean, people just want things to be fair, and they don't want to have to join a party to vote. Like, I don't want to have to want to have to join it. If Bernie's running, I don't want to have to join the Democratic Party to vote. I should just be able to fucking vote for him.
Yeah.
And that's just shitty because it's a private party and I don't want anything to do with it. But if I don't have anything to do with it, then I end up not taking part in the process at all. That's how a lot of people feel. And it's just fucking bullshit. Just let everybody vote. Let us vote.
Let everybody vote. I mean, they tried to pass, I think, ranked choice voting. I'm not sure where it stands, but it was on the ballot in Massachusetts. And the early voting was like, no, it wasn't going to pass. But then the new ballots came in for younger voters. And it looks like that might pass. I don't know for that. But this is a tweet I found. All these polls, public opinion polls compared to the Democratic platform. So why is the party pandering to the right when poll after poll shows broad support to their left? 70% show support for Medicare for all. Fox News just put out a poll saying 72% of Fox News viewers want 70%, right? So these polls are not Democratic voters or Republican voters. This is just American voters. Taxes on the extreme wealth, 74% of the people want that. Environmental protection, 68%. Social Security, 77%. Ending police repression, 67%.
It's so weird because our America's Liberal Party is opposed to all of these things.
And said as much in their debates.
Not Social Security. I mean, we'll see if Biden tries to knock that back. But I mean, taxes on the wealth, they don't even talk about it. Medicare for all, absolutely not. Environmental protection, well, they're into fracking. Ending police repression, not even remotely. They just want to put some window dressing on it. They're not that. There is absolutely nothing that is not a right-wing party in this country.
Yes, we have no opposition in this country. We have no opposition party. We have none. I mean, we had Joe Biden and Donald Trump look into the camera and say, I won't ban fracking. Kamala Harris in the VP debate said it 3 times. I mean, like they just, and I was on Crosstalk last night with this like Democratic pundit who was like, oh, you want to get rid of fracking. You're going to get rid of fracking jobs and people that work in the fracking industry. I was like, wow, first of all, you sound like a Republican. And secondly, I came back at him and I said, so all those people in Oklahoma that are witnessing record numbers of earthquakes that have contaminated water, there's been explosions in Texas and and Oklahoma and Colorado, fracking natural gas explosions. You're trying to tell me that those people just want their jobs? Sure, they'll take a fracking job if there's nothing else, but you could, I don't know, offer them a better job working in the green industry. And this is some Democratic pundit saying this to me.
They act like a kid turned 7 and he's like, Daddy, I want to work in fracking. Like it's the fucking craziest shit. Dude wants a job, man. Guy wants a fucking job. Like no one is like, I'm really into fracking. You make a bunch of money because the whole thing's a fucking grift. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. But also, guess what? Fracking has completely collapsed because of COVID.
Right.
It is devastated, and it's probably not coming back. And the only way it comes back is if the government starts giving it cash, which is essentially what Joe Biden is saying when he says, I support fracking.
Yeah,
he's going to give it a little CARES money. That's what that is.
And hey, fracking industry and the fossil fuel industry in general, I looked into the camera and so did my VP and said, I'm not going to ban fracking. So you need to back me, and that's what they're doing. And it's like so they passed in Oregon, which has already had medical marijuana and recreational marijuana for a while, opened up mushrooms and other stuff like that. You've had these policies all over the place.
Yeah.
And yet they claim that people don't want these things. They claim that
they claim that it can't come out of a candidate's mouth. They immediately say that person is bad and it'll never work. But then it's like, well, then why is it passing everywhere?
Everywhere. Why is it passing everywhere?
Mississippi just legalized pot. Like fucking Mississippi. Like they're so behind what's happening.
And yeah, because they still look, the party is run by a bunch of old people that still think it's the 90s. And they don't realize Mississippi, which has just abject poverty. Ron and I drove through there a year ago and doing a tour of shows and through that part of the country. And one of the things the most stood out to me, 2 things stood out when we were driving on the highways in Mississippi. One, the prison labor, cleaning up the side of the highway. And 2, empty billboards. Put your ad here, one after another. And I was like, I've never seen that. I've driven all over this country. I've never seen that. And they're hurting economically. So one of the reasons that people of Mississippi voted for that is they're probably looked to, Colorado is actually doing quite well financially because of the pot trade. There's a pot tourism. Like all this stuff happened in especially specifically Denver because you can't put marijuana money in a bank because that's the Fed still decriminalize it. So what happened? The real estate values actually went up in the Denver and Colorado in general, but the Denver area, because the recreational marijuana store owners put all their cash into real estate.
That's hilarious.
So,
and what a dumb country. What a just fucking dumb country.
It's like, and so people in Mississippi are like, look, man, we're farmers. We're a rural country, a state. We can grow some weed, man, and make money and not be starving. I mean, the Democrats have no idea. The manufacturing jobs have been wiped out. So you've got most people are working in food service. That's the best you can do, right? Because that hasn't really been shut down as much, especially during COVID. Or they're delivering for Grubhub. And I'm watching interviews of people on the news, and they're like, we're indentured servants. I have a full-time job, and I'm selling plasma to pay my bills. And you're telling them, nope. That's why they're like, yeah, I want free healthcare. Yes. I want student debt forgiveness. That's the other thing, like that Bernie ran on. Can you imagine if he was like, I'm going to give you free healthcare. So if you don't have health insurance, now you don't have to worry. If you are paying for health insurance, that bill's taken off the table. And then student debt forgiveness, 85% of all student debt loans are federal. The president doesn't even need Congress, can literally one sweep of the pen, boom, trillions of dollars back into the economy. And it's not even, there's no tax dollars that have to be paid for it. You're just forgiving debt. You're just saying, no, you don't owe me that anymore. And it's like the country is starving for this, literally starving. And they're clueless.
They're just rich. They're old, rich people who are just completely out of touch, and they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. And they genuinely don't understand what it means to be in debt. They don't understand what it means to work a job and still not be able to feed your family. They have no concept of it. They just think, well, just do another thing, do something that you can make more money. Like the world they grew up in no longer exists. The world I grew up in no longer exists. Mm-hmm. When I got out of college, I could survive on one job. And I got a couple of roommates. My rent in San Francisco was $275.
Yeah.
3-bedroom apartment. I think I paid an extra $50 to park in the garage.
Yeah.
I could work part-time and do stand-up. If that was today, I would have 3 jobs
or
to live in that area,
or have 6 people in a 2-bedroom house or something like that. Like, I mean, that's when I look at young comics in LA. Yeah, I had a similar thing. I remember when I lived in Chicago, my share of the rent was $250 or $300. When I moved to LA, it was like $300, and I had my own bedroom, like my own bath. Like, I moved furniture on the weekends, and then I did stand up at night. And like, there's no way you can afford that now. There's no way. Every young comic has to drive for Lyft or Uber and Grubhub.
Just healthcare alone. Number one, I didn't have to get healthcare, but I did. But it was $63 a month.
Right.
It was $63, and there's absolutely nothing about inflationary increases of healthcare in which that matches to what's happening today. There's nothing that justifies that cost other than just pure gouging. So we were able to just live.
Yes.
And have a job and chase our dreams. And they can't do that now. And the fact that we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic and they're not going to forgive all of those loans and give people health care is one of the most unconscionable things. It might be the worst thing the Democratic Party has ever done or been a part of.
Yeah.
Because you want to sit here and talk about how Trump has killed $240,000 with COVID. Well, now add up all the people Democrats have killed by not passing Medicare for all. It turns out it's a bigger number because it's 60,000 a year. So since 2008, what is that? It's a lot of fucking people. That's a lot more than COVID.
Yeah.
So fuck you. You have a higher death count.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I mean, 240,000 people are dead because of COVID, which is something they were like, they could really attack Trump on. He's mishandled COVID completely. Yeah. Okay. But like you say, we've had people dying because they don't have health insurance in this country, and nobody has a problem. We have the tent cities before the pandemic were out of control. Since the pandemic, it is unreal. Los Angeles, you cannot go a half mile without seeing tents under a freeway, on a road. You can't go a half mile. It's human misery. It's
Mhm.
just in plain sight next to some high-rise fancy, building with overpriced rents or whatever. And I don't know how everyone's moving. So how's any of this going to work?
I
Like,
have a way to, I have it figured out. I'm going to
how?
start a GoFundMe to buy the homeless guns. I feel like
Um,
stuff will start to happen at that point. Like there'll be a movement in taking care of people.
yeah. If you were like, if I like owned Smith and Wesson or something like that, I'd be like, I think I'm going to assemble my own army, and everybody, I'll give you a hot meal and a gun. You just got to join my band, my Montagnard army, and we're going to go storm the White House and Jeff Bezos' house and Congress and where Nancy Pelosi lives and McConnell and all of them. I know what I want to talk to you about. Welcome to the Political Vigilante, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Graham Elwood. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share this out, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where for $10 a month, you get bonus content from me, from our guest, Dave Anthony, and everybody else on the platform. Dave, I wanted to talk to you about, since Biden might eke out a win, and even so, it's like, whatever, but what's happening around the country? We've talked about Mississippi passing marijuana, Florida passing $15 an hour minimum wage. We're seeing Oregon, like all these progressive.
Well, the Oregon one, that's a hard drug legalization.
Yes.
Cocaine and heroin.
And like
fantastic.
They're decriminalizing it because addiction is a health issue. It's not a criminal issue. And
right.
If somebody commits a violent crime because of drugs, okay, fine, then prosecute them for that violent crime. But don't just wanting to get high. It's like, well, that's not, it's a health issue. Addiction is a health issue, and it should be treated as a health issue. Just like, oh man, we're going to outlaw insulin because these goddamn, diabetic addicts are causing problems. We don't treat diabetes that way. So all of these progressive things, which are so blowing up the Democrats' whole thing of going after suburban Republicans to vote for them. And Joe Biden, he's not having if he wins, it's not going to be a landslide. It's not some mandate, but all these progressive policies are happening. But also in Los Angeles, we've been talking about this city. We've been talking about the importance of city councils. I've been saying it on the show. Kshama Sawant in Seattle, how much power she has just as a city council member. So much so that Jeff Bezos feels threatened by her, spends $1.5 million to try to defeat her, and Bezos still loses. So this is a candidate for city council that you were very much behind in Los Angeles, who is still in the lead. She won. They're calling it.
It got called a couple hours ago.
This is huge. So this is in the LA Times. Angry voters, higher turnout, Hollywood money, how Nithya Raman gained an edge in LA. By the time voters cast their ballots, the 39-year-old Silver Lake resident had become a powerful symbol for progressive activists, not just across the city, but in other parts of the country, securing the endorsement of Bernie Sanders. Her opponent got the endorsement of Nancy Pelosi.
And Hillary Clinton.
And
Dianne Feinstein.
All voted against the woman of color.
They didn't vote. They just all against the woman of color. They all said we support the other person, which is really common for Nancy Pelosi. I would say Nancy Pelosi endorses more white people against people of color than any other maybe congressperson out there.
Of course, she's a rich white lady.
Yeah,
she's well, votes are still being counted, although now we know that she won. She's unseating Councilman David, making him the first LA council member to be ousted in 17 years.
Okay, so this is are you going to go into why? Because this is fascinating. Why 17 years?
Let me just go this real quick. She had represents a political earthquake for City Hall. Rahman offered a detailed progressive policy platform calling for the creation of a network of homeless access centers, arguing for LAPD to become a much smaller armed force and promoting a rent forgiveness plan that would deliver cash reimbursements to small landlords and tax credits to larger ones. This is another progressive that, but let's go into this, Dave. So you followed this you followed her, you promoted her. So tell us, break it down for people, the history of this.
So the thing about the city council is nobody really pays attention. It's just always gone under the radar. And LA City Council, it's a weak mayoral system, which means the mayor doesn't actually have that much power. It's all the budget and everything's all in the hands of the city council. And the city council is just owned by developers and rich people. That's just all it is. And they get everything they want. And no one was paying attention to it for years. And they voted together 97% of the time. So that right there tells you that is a corrupt, insane organization. And so, at some point, someone was like, city councils are really important. Chicago had some great movement, Philadelphia, Seattle. And now it was like, well, we're LA. We got to have something. And there's a guy on there. I can't remember his name there now, but he's pretty left. They already have one pretty left person. And then she started running, and she had been in City Hall for a little while, always working on homeless stuff and not getting anywhere. She just couldn't get anywhere. Like it just, nobody gave a shit. And so she went out and started her own organization and really came up with really interesting ways and non-punitive ways to deal with the homeless. How to get them showers, how to, get all the stuff that they need to exist or to get jobs. Like it's not about punishing or pushing them somewhere. It's about getting dignity. Them out of it. Yeah. It's about getting them out of it and making them feel better and not just being in this spiral. I mean, imagine if you're homeless, I have some shit go wrong in the day and I'm like, oh, I can't do anything. Like, it's just the mindset to be able to climb out of that is astonishing. So she really had ideas, and she took those ideas again to City Hall and the city council, and they're like, nah. So she's like, fuck this, I'm going to run. And she is our AOC. She's the West Coast AOC. I don't just see her for city council. I see her I want to see her move up. I hope that someday she's mayor and then goes from there. Like she's the real deal.
It also magnifies a point that I say a lot on this show is how important, everybody wants some progressive president to come in and sort of wave a magic wand, but I'm like, the local elections in some ways are way more important. Joe Biden is not going to fix the homeless problem in Los Angeles or any other city. I don't know how maybe Bernie could have allocated some federal funds or whatever, but like this is a municipal issue. This is what a city council, and as you've said, in Los Angeles and other cities are very similar. The city council has way more power than you think. And, this is important. I mean, getting more people on your city council that are actually reflecting the values that we want. I mean, you can't, that's the developers. I mean, how are all these big buildings in LA built week after block after block? There's still, some of them are still being built in this pandemic.
No one's doing anything about it. No one is questioning why they're all being built. And if they're being built for low income people, or they're all being built for high income people. They all are. And it's not just city councils, it's transportation boards. It's fucking water boards. Yep. Like we got to take over all this shit. We leftists are the majority in these cities. We have to take it all. Take it all.
Yeah, that's what I say. I go, don't look for some savior. Go run for your school board. Go run for your water board. Go run for your city council. Go run. Go do it. And they can't stop everything. That's when people are like, oh, I don't vote, it's all rigged. I go, they can rig it on the national level, but they can't rig every city count. They can't do it. They can't, especially if we all get on all these city councils, there's nothing they can do. I mean, there's another.
If we start attacking them in every race, they are spread so goddamn thin, and they're so focused on the big money shit. They're so focused on the huge stuff that we start sliding into all these places. We spread their bullshit so thin if we attack them everywhere. If we have leftists running for everything, they are in a lot of fucking trouble, and we get a lot of things.
Well, here's another example of that. Baldwin Park, which is another city in Southern California. It's not a huge city, but guess what? Oh, a young green just beat a mayor who'd been there for 26 years. The Green Party now has a mayor in LA County. I mean, this is amazing.
Baldwin Park. That's
Yeah,
funny. I had no
26-year-old Green Party member. That changes everything, because that's not, and look, Baldwin Park is not some city in the middle of nowhere, but even if it was, that'd be great. It is a part of Southern California. It is a part of LA. I mean, it's got a huge, and it has an influence. And what happens when you have a green and who's a mayor? Well, then that city can implement all of these green policies and even its own Green New Deal that other cities go, well, shit, we want to do that. Like, that's why it's so powerful.
There's a great thing I was watching. I was just watching what different cities in Europe are doing with COVID happening. And they're like, there's Austria, they're like turning up parking lots into parks. And I was watching that and I was like, yeah, if you get some people in control of Baldwin Park and you start doing that kind of thing, then people in the next city over go, well, what the fuck is, how come it's awesome over there?
Yeah. Why can't we have this?
And once you start creating a non-dystopian world, things change.
Yeah.
Things start to change.
And it's like all the, how are we going to pay for it? And that's pie in the sky. No, it's not. They did it in Baldwin Park. They literally just did it in Baldwin Park. What are you talking about? Like, oh, that can't happen. Or, well, Baldwin Park's a small city. Well, no. The Seattle City Council just voted for this, and the LA City Council. And that's why the LA City Council, again, coming back to that, is so important. And it also looks like Gascon is going to defeat Jackie Lacey. And not that he's some lefty hero, but she has sided with the cops unit. She's the district attorney in Los Angeles, right? For the audience out there. And she will not prosecute a cop to save her life. Black Lives Matter has been protesting on Wednesdays outside of her office for years. The Wednesday after George Floyd was murdered, that protest all of a sudden used to have a couple hundred people. Now there was like 20,000 people down in LA, and it got big, and they shut down a freeway, and then some cop drove his car through people. Like, that was Jackie Lacey, man. That's and she looks like she's going to be defeated. So it's like,
she's going down.
It's this is how you do it.
That's a big one. And they did that in Philadelphia. They took over the DA's office a couple years ago, Krasner, and that made a huge difference. Getting rid of your district attorney is enormous. It's enormous. It changes everything as far as what's being prosecuted. The cops are like, charge this guy with a small pot thing. No, like that. That's what you can do as the district attorney. Cops bring in a thing and you go, this looks like bullshit. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's your body cam footage? Oh, the camera malfunctioned. Okay, bullshit. Sorry. You smell that shit out. And that's why, again, these local elections are so critical. Your state representatives. Look, 3 years ago, the state of California could have had single-payer healthcare. The California Democrats, which control the state, just control the whole party, voted it down. Anthony Rendon was one of the people that voted it down. Imagine if we had a bunch of progressives and Greens. And this is the thing, the Green Party, I wasn't that excited about Howie Hawkins. I understand why some people voted for him and whatever. He is the author of the Green New Deal. But it's more significant that there's a Green mayor in one of the big suburbs of the second largest city in America. That's huge. That's huge. And that's what we need more of. We need more Greens, more openly socialist, democratic socialists, Labor Party people, People's Party. That's what we need. That's how it's going to change, as I see it. So, well, Dave Anthony, thanks for taking time out of the day. Where can people watch and follow and listen to everything you're doing?
I am, I'm at the Dollop podcast. I do that. I also do a podcast called The West Wing Thing, where we watch the West Wing each week and we discuss how it has absolutely destroyed the liberal mind in America and how they don't know how to govern because they all think it's a TV show.
It's
and then I'm
more sophisticated than anything the KGB did.
It's really bad. I mean, it's really bad. When you get into it, you're just like,
Oh,
how are these? They really, and you see it every day. Someone tweets something out, and you're just like, you think you're in the West Wing, but it's reality. We're talking about reality. Did you see the Deborah Messing tweet?
oh God, I can't read what she says. What kind of nonsense did she post? Like,
She put up a tweet directed at Donald Trump, and it said, "This is how a leader handles the situation," and then showed a video of Gore's concession speech.
oh, I saw that. Yeah, yeah, that's the time Al Gore was totally okay with the Secretary of State of Florida throwing out 170,000 ballots. That
Yeah, when they stole the election and he rolled over.
yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
That one. That's the bold leadership of the Democrats. He just bent over and gave the guy a thing of KY and said, "Put your whole fist in." That one, got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
okay. Anyway, West Wing sounds like I'm glad you're breaking people because you were telling me about this West Wing podcast because I remember watching it 20 years ago or whatever, going, "Oh man, Aaron Sorkin's got good writing or whatever," and then now I'm like, well, I went back and watched it again like a year or two ago, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is. So how that podcast is waking people up, right? The way you're breaking it down.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know it would wake people up like this. We are getting a lot of liberals that are like, this show completely radicalized me. Like I just went in thinking, oh, it'll be a critique thing. And they're like, no, I'm a crazy socialist. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but I think that show really has, I think it's built into people's DNA who are liberals. And when you start to break it down and go, and then they start questioning, well, what am I? I don't believe these things. I actually believe we should have Medicare for all. And I actually believe in all this stuff. And we break down that the show is explaining to them why no one should have anything. And then they start to question everything. And they look at the Democratic Party and they go, oh my God, they're doing the same thing the show did. And then they start to sort of just walk away. It's really interesting. I didn't think it would have this effect, but we're getting a lot of people saying it radicalized them.
Well, because everybody knows they're being lied to in one form or another. Now, that being lied to can open people up to going down the QAnon road and being crazy or just whatever, or selective conspiracies. Fox News is lying, but MSNBC is fine, and vice versa. But when people really get introspective, and this thing, it's finding out a family member was a criminal when you love them or something like that. I mean, if you grew up watching West Wing, especially if you were like young, you know what I mean? Like you were a teenager or college, when you're getting open to the world and you're like, oh yeah, it's this liberal utopia in the middle of George W. Bush's hellscape or whatever it was. And then now you're older and you go, Jesus, were we lied to? Like, man, it's all bullshit. And like, because everything is being questioned, we're tearing down Christopher Columbus statues. So people are like, man, some people are resorting back to being more conservative or whatever. They're doubling down on whatever, all lives matter. But some people are going, I've had a lot of conversations with white people especially since the George Floyd thing, of like, yeah, I did have a lot of privilege. Wow. I didn't realize that. I didn't no, yeah, I worked hard and was rewarded in a system that rewards me, that I even had access. Like everyone's realizing, boy, that's a lot of privilege. So people are starting to question more. And your podcast is probably helping open that up, I would imagine.
It is, and they think they idolize the show in the sense that I really wish we could have a president like this. I mean, that's what they all say. I wish that there was a White House like this. But when you go, okay, but those are the people. But what did that White House do? And it turns out that White House does nothing. It never accomplishes anything. It does stupid shit, like it seats. There's 2 openings on the Supreme Court, and it seats a conservative and a liberal. Like it does really bad stuff.
Wait a minute now. Has anything like that happened recently? I'm trying to remember. Is there an episode where they asked Ruth Bader Ginsburg to step down during and then she does it? Oh, no, that's what really happened. Okay.
Yeah, that's how you really lose your country.
Oh,
and there's really no ideology to the show. The show is very conservative, and there's characters against unions and affirmative action, and against they make fun of environmentalists, and they say we need to put our boots on Mecca. Like it's just all very right-wingy bullshit. But then when you get into stuff, and like there's an episode where the first lady comes out against child slavery and they all get mad at her because it's the wrong time. And they ended up having her back off of child slavery. And I'm just like, so that's your fantasy. So you get to write your own TV show.
Right.
And your fantasy is that you're not going to say anything bad about child slavery. So that's your crazy fantasy of how the world should work. Like that's woo, man, you've really man, you're just a fucking rainbow of just hope. And
if
so
I find a genie in a bottle, I'm going to ask for kind of affordable health care and maybe a slightly lower car payment. I think that's what I'm going to, if Genie will get me any 3 wishes I want, that's what I'm going to ask for.
And that's what the whole show is. And you point that out to people and you go, what is it that you love about this show? Because this is really horrendous. And they're always horse trading. They're like, okay, we'll give up giving funding to young mothers who they'll take less money, and then we'll actually give more money for kids who get milk in school. And you're just like, what if everybody gets that? Like, what in the fuck are you doing? How do you have a show that nothing is good? It's just mind-boggling.
It shows you the hijacking of Hollywood by like the deep state, the intelligence community. Like Hollywood, as you know, the CIA has had offices in Hollywood since the late 40s or early 50s, but they've really infiltrated shows like that. And big, you know, when NBC was owned by General, because you go back and you watch, like, that's why the 60s and when the studio system collapsed in the late 60s and 70s, and artists, they literally said that, you know, the inmates were running the asylum, when actual artists were running the studios and making decisions. You had a TV show like Star Trek, which, you know, is kind of campy now, but if you look at what Gene Roddenberry was doing, he was projecting this future. You know, there was an episode where it was literally nicknamed the Vietnam veterans, the Vietnam War episode, because the Klingons and the Starfleet were each funding the sides of 2 tribes on this it was like, wow, Gene Roddenberry was so brilliant. You know, there's stuff that like doesn't hold, like, okay, women would have mini skirts in the future in space. Like, got it. You know, but you know, Uhuru was the first ever Black woman in a position of power on TV. She was a lieutenant, and the first ever interracial kiss was on that show. And you watch shows like that. You watch like Planet of the Apes. You watch The Twilight Zone. You watch these movies like Deer Hunter or Network or 3 Days of the Condor, which were just like really challenging things, really challenging the status quo, really challenging the power. And then the big corporations took over in the 80s, and then the blockbuster came out. And then you have TV shows like West Wing, which dupe liberals into thinking this is some liberal utopia, but we're all getting lulled to sleep by nice dialogue and folksy Martin Sheenisms. And underneath it is, like you say, all this right. When you watch it again, I watched it, I was like, this is right wing. This is a pro CIA show. This is like,
I mean, he loves nothing more than the FBI and the military, and like it's like the adoration of the military is just off the fucking charts. Like, and I can't tell you how many times that they've done some rescue mission and some guy in the country like gets on the plane and like, well, you can't come on our plane. And you're like, you're invading a fucking country. What do you mean? That's his country. They're like, you can't shoot at us. You're attacking his country. He can't shoot at you. Like, it's just the craziest right-wing shit. It's really fucking awful.
So anyway, I was just going to ask you about that to get some plugs in, but then we went on a 20-minute how often like on the CIA and Hollywood, which was valid. But tell everyone again what that show is, where the Dollop. Tell everyone where they can watch all your stuff.
Dollop, you know, you can find the Dollop podcast on any podcast network, and also the West Wing thing. And then we have some videos of the Dollop on YouTube on the All Things Comedy channel, but we've stopped doing it because of COVID, but hopefully we can get back to that soon.
And you're going to start posting on Rockfin, correct?
Yes, I'm going to start doing political stuff on Rockfin.
Nice.
Or Redfin. I haven't decided.
I think you need more real estate reviews in your resume, Dave. That's what people need to hear you.
I'm also in talks with Zillow, so I don't know which way this is going to go. Honestly, I might be doing political stuff on Zillow.
Yes, that's what Zillow needs. You talk about this house from a socialist point of view, like not just the 3-bedroom, 2 baths, but the labor that built it and how it's extracting labor and all that stuff. So that's a good review, a socialist Zillow review. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later.
Dave Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, check out his West Wing podcast. You guys gotta listen to it because we all were like, oh, it's so great. Like whatever age you were when it came out, now you're watching it. Oh boy, it will drastically wake you up. Let's read some super chats, folks. We have over 700 and some people watching, 526 likes. Let's get the likes up to 600, everybody. Let's do it. Sharif Snug, shave your knuckles for justice. Stop taking money from Big Kale, Graham. We all know it's the voters' fault why America failed. Oh, I know. Oh, God. They're Democratic. They're blaming the voters. Like, again, it's the voters' fault. And if Joe Biden were to somehow lose, which it's looking like he's going to win, but you never know. What they have no Jill Stein. They have no Susan Sarandon. Who are they going to blame now? Susan Sarandon and George endorsed Joe Biden. I mean, who are they going to blame? Oh, man. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Annabelle Corley, what's up? Conversations I've been having with my Aussie friends, family on the election. Them Biden will win by a landslide and me laughing. You don't know how nuts American politics is. They do now. Yeah. Kate, our moderator, what's up? Shave your knuckles for justice. They are covering the windows in case Trump says he's ahead somewhere, and they're counting ballots there, and then said supporters could torch it. Oh, Jesus. Wow. Oh, crazy. Sharif Snug, shave your knuckles for justice. Arizona Secretary of State says Trump campaign doesn't have legal pathway should it bring lawsuit. I wonder why that's a concern. If he's going to lose, let him do it. Yeah, he's already been talking. So Trump has already been talking with his lawyers and he's threatening lawsuits. And that's what Trump always does. You know, like all those crybaby Wall Street guys, he's going to do lawsuit. So Trump's going to try to drag this out as much as he can. Yeah, as much as he can. Hello, everybody on the Rock Fin. Targina Hayes, Denny McCartney. Thank you for watching on the Rock Fin. Hit the like button, whether you're watching on Rockfin or YouTube or the Facebook. Share it out on your social media, ladies and gentlemen. Graham, I saw you on Crosstalk. You should have mentioned the 16.7 million people purged from the primary that Obama hacked that said Biden wasn't fair and square. I know. That if you watch me on Crosstalk, and I'm sorry, everybody, I told you I was going to be on live at 9:00 last night. It wasn't. They taped it at 9 and released it last night or today. Sorry, this thing fell out of my ear. But yeah, that guy was a Biden. He said Biden won fair and square, which was just like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah. And he called me a conspiracy theorist. And then I said, so then the UN's a bunch of conspiracy theorists? Graham, you have amazing friends. Thank you, Eileen Love. Yeah, I've known Dave for a long time. Farkas Garvey, boom, shave your knuckles for justice. These Trumpers are dumb, but I'm not worried about them starting armed conflicts. I have faith that our military and police would squash it. Okay. I hope you're right. Pat the Batman fan. What's up, Pat? In honor of Dave Anthony, I've missed you. You funny guy, you. Good to see you. Right on. Hey, Mayor, shave your knuckles for justice. Mainstream media literally has me rooting for Trump. It's official. We live in the upside down. I effing ate both of them, but Biden is a worse evil in my mind. Yeah, it's a coin flip. Media Maven. What's up, shave your knuckles for justice? Kate, our moderator. Our votes are just suggestions anyway. Electors get winner take all in 48 states, no proportion. This might be the third election with popular winner losing. Yep. Annabelle Cordley, boom, 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 boom. The only good thing now is the world without doubt will know the level of nuts the American voting system is and the climax of this purge. Yep. The world is going to really see how nuts America is. They're already seeing how nuts we are in our handling of COVID. People don't want to wear masks. They're seeing just America's going fucking shit nuts. Hey, Mares, vegan smoothies will break the matrix, Graham. You're clearly the modern day Bane and must accept your journey. Take control, hey, Mares. Take control of your super chat. You think Save Knuckles are your ally? I was born with Save Knuckles. Molded by it. I love you guys. Just try to get me to do characters. Hit the like button. Let's get it over 600, everybody. Come on now. Hey now, ho. Hit the make sure you subscribe. If you're new to the show or came over from Jimmy Dore, hit the subscribe button. AD, boom. Just a few bucks to invest in my sanity. I'll need these podcasts more than ever if Biden Forrest Gumps his way into the White House. Oh, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it, folks. I really appreciate you supporting what we do. YouTube throttling me and stuff. Like I was talking to Jimmy today and I was like, I should be making way more ad revenue, but I'm not getting the views. With 73,000 subscribers, I should get a minimum of like 10,000 views per video, 10 to 15,000 on a minimum. And then if a video does well, it'd be like 20, 30, 40, 50,000, maybe every once in a while break up. I mean, if I get to 5,000 views, that's like every once in a blue moon, something will jump over 10,000 views or something like that. But even the Ghislaine Maxwell ones, 5,000 views. So I appreciate the super chat money. And of course, I'm on Venmo at Venmo-Graham Elwood. If you want to donate there, I'll answer your question in Venmo. I have a PayPal button and even a PO box. So Bernie or Guillotine 2020, ba-boom. Laid $1,000 on Biden plus 190 last night. Glad so many mouth breathers exist to move the line. Silver lining, thoughts on Milena divorce plus 300 or Rogan 24 plus 50,000. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah, it'd be great if Rogan ran. I don't think Joe Rogan's going to run for anything. I think he's got a great life. He's happy, and I don't blame him. Matt S. What's up, Matt S. Shaver Knuckles for Justice. Have you seen Veep? They do a good job making fun of neoliberal politics. Yeah, Veep is fantastic. Veep is hilarious. I love the Veep. I have like spit up food laughing out loud, which is, I don't do a lot of that watching TV because I'm a comedian. I'm just too critical of it. But man, Veep is funny. Good Lord, Veep is so funny. Big Graham Wagner, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Does anyone care about uniting our countrymen, women, etc., or is submission of one to another the only solution? See, Trumpers are dumb. We've got to try to find something to unite the country. But you can't excuse the behavior of some of the Trump supporters that show up with guns, that say Nazi, right-wing things. There was a bunch of people in a Trump van running Biden supporters off the road in Texas. I can't just let that slide. I call neoliberals dumb too. I would love to unite this country, to get it united, but people got to wake up. And when I see people acting crazy, and it's really the ruling class that helps concoct this, and I've said a lot on this show, we're not in a race war, we're in class warfare. Americans need to wake up to the fact that we're in class warfare. But then when they want to get guns and run people off the road and do crazy shit with a Trump flag in their truck, and there's like that's crazy stuff. That needs to be called out. The Deborah Messings of the world need to be called out. But the key is, like we've talked about, is a third party that is a labor, that focuses on labor. That'll unify people. So I'd like to see that. Great question, though. Yeah, you're right. There's probably no stimulus. Emblemed fate, ba-boom. Libs complain about cheating after the primary. You can't gripe about cheating now after the shadow app cheating is bad no matter when. Libs are shameful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the thing I hate about this two-party system. Each filthy rat fuck side of these two rotten parties only complain when the other side cheats. They never own their own cheating. It's just why I hate the whole system. Maybe the Rockfin app will be better than just watching it on Safari. Yeah, there is a Rockfin app. You can download it. It's for iPhones. I think Android, definitely for iTunes. It's free. So boom boom pow ba boom boom bam ba 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 boom boom ba ba boom boom ba boom boom ba boom bam ba ba boom ba 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 boom boom. Oh. Yeah, all rapists need to be called out. It'll be interesting to see what other skeletons come out of Biden's closet during the presidency. Oh, yeah, I know. Clark County, which is Las Vegas, has extended voting hours last night, and Trump camp tried to sue to stop their vote count. Clark and Washoe counties carry the state. All right. Do I think Trump? Yeah, if Trump loses, he'll start his news network. He just wants to go golf and do Adderall or whatever he does. Hit the like button. We're almost at 600 likes, everybody. We're almost at 600 likes. Boom, 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 boom. Hit that like button. Come on, get that like over 600. 3 more likes. 3 more. 602. We did it. Yeah. What do I use for edit software? I use iMovie. Getting corporate money out of politics is probably the only thing that'll bring people together. Plus, end the war on drugs, start the war on pedophiles. Yeah, I'm down with that. Marco Smith, kaboom, making Gotham great again. With Holly Mitchell's victory, the LA County Board of Supervisors, seen as the most powerful local government body in the country, will be an all-female board for the first time in history. Let's hope they're real lefty progressives. Because if it's all female, but they're still just corporate Democrats or whatever, it won't be that big of a change. It'll just be a cosmetic change. But let's hope they're big progressives. Let's hope this happens. Because the LA County Board of Supervisors also has a lot of power, like the LA City Council. LA County is there's 4 million people in the LA City, but you add LA County, it goes upwards of like 10 million people or something like that. It's huge. Spectrum 86. Boom, boom, boom. Biden gets elected. Will the left sit on their rear like when Obama got elected? Some people will, for sure. The Deborah Messings of the world will go back to brunch. They will, for sure. Some of the Vote Any Blue Will Do people will be losing their homes and their jobs, and they're going to be hungry and pissed off. And when Biden doesn't help them and they're getting locked up in the streets, then they're going to wake up because they're going to be, yeah. Ario Demian, what's up? Boom. General strike, yep. Local wins like minimum wage and drug legalization are much faster than national wins, more socialists and Greens locally. Yep. That's why I keep saying it. It's so important in the local elections. It's so important. And look, you want a grassroots movement? You want a populist movement that comes from the ground up? You do it locally. If all the city councils and state and all these big cities all of a sudden become super lefty progressive, then that's real change. That's real change. and you're like, even if you're like, Graham, I live in this red city or this red state, then you be the one green on the city council. You be the one socialist, right? You be the socialist on the, the Dallas City Council or whatever. Start doing that, man. Let's do a segment. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Well, all we've been talking about is election. So isn't it always the case when a big thing is happening, even if it's a distraction, while election's important, they always release stuff in the middle or underneath, so a big news cycle, so a story doesn't get a lot of traction. It's deliberate. Well, more evidence showing Julian Assange is innocent came out Monday night. Mueller investigated Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, and Roger Stone for DNC hacks. Previously secret portions of the Mueller report showed the special counsel declined to prosecute due to lack of evidence. No one's going to talk about this Monday night because all anyone is talking about is this electoral scenario in this district. And we're talking about Maricopa County. And like Dave Anthony said, 300 million people are worried about Maricopa County. We have an insane political system and everyone's watching it. This is what they're not talking about. This was dropped Monday night, the night before the election. Prosecutors investigated Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, and Roger Stone for the hacking of the Democratic National Committee servers, as well as for possible campaign finance violations, but ultimately chose not to charge them. Newly released portions of the Mueller report reveal federal prosecutors could not establish that the hacked emails amounted to campaign contributions befitting Trump's election chances, and furthermore felt their publication might have been protected by the First Amendment. Because Julian Assange is not a Russian asset. He's a publisher. The New York Times, the Washington Post has a whistleblower give them leaked information and they vet it and publish it. That's what WikiLeaks did. Chelsea Manning, transgender soldier, who was put in jail by Barack Obama for 7 years, who just commuted her sentence, and to specifically know what that legal language means they could put her back in jail. A full pardon wipes out the criminal right. There's no charges. It's done. It's gone. Commuting means I'm pulling you out of jail early, but someone can put you back in there if they want, which is what Trump did. And she eventually got out. This is a scam. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks are innocent. And it keeps showing this. But no, we don't. Is Rachel Maddow going to jump on this story? No? Joanne Reed? No? Anderson Cooper? Chuck Todd? Any of them going to get it? No. Right. A vegan surfer in a soccer jersey with vegan guns. That's who's bringing you the information. So you see the redacted version, and what just came out was the unredacted. They opened up all this. There's still stuff redacted, obviously. And they did this the Monday before this big election, before a presidential election. It's not a mistake. It's not a coincidence. It's not an oversight. Like, boy, they didn't think that one through. No, they thought it through specifically to do this. If Julian Assange is guilty, then so are the editors at the New York Times and the Washington Post. Then Ben Bradley committed treason when he revealed the Pentagon Papers, right? Just because the Podesta emails that were given to Julian Assange, probably by Seth Rich, and then Seth Rich suddenly gets mugged and killed, even though no one took his wallet, no one took his watch. The family backed down from pressing an investigation. Somebody got to them. Weird coincidences. When you reveal the war crimes of the American empire, they come after you. It's that simple. But we keep revealing that Assange is innocent. Last month, it came out, the FBI came out that showed that CrowdStrike was hired by the Hillary campaign and the DNC to fabricate this Russian hacking story. And part of the reason they used it was when the Podesta emails came out, they went, oh, Russia. You ever notice that John Podesta himself has never said the emails were fake? Hillary Clinton has never said the emails are fake. The emails are real. What they do is say, oh, Julian Assange works with Russia. They just keep playing this Russia, Russia, Russia card. The middle of the election, this comes out. Assuming that no coordination with the campaign occurred, Mueller wrote, a criminal prosecution of overseas actors providing non-express advocacy information to American listeners would likely be difficult. That's part of the redacted information in there. If we look at this, applying to the principles of federal prosecution, however, the office determined that prosecution of potential violations were not warranted. Unreal, man. Unreal. That's how the deep state does it. And when you've got corporate media, Fox is corporate media, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, you would think they'd be screaming from the mountaintops about the persecution of a publisher and a journalist. WikiLeaks in its history has had 0 retractions. 0. No one can say that. I can't say that from this show. The New York Times can't, the Washington Post can't, Fox News can't, ABC, none of them can say it. They've all had to do retractions. WikiLeaks has never had a retraction. Go read the Podesta emails and then come back to me and tell me what you think. Donna Brazile was fired from CNN because the Podesta emails, the leaked DNC emails, revealed that she gave answers to Hillary Clinton ahead of a debate. So CNN fired her. She now works for Fox News. You think there's a difference in these news channels? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, again, was fired because the emails revealed she was rigging the primary against Bernie Sanders. The DNC fired her. The Hillary campaign hired her immediately. These are facts. I'm not making this up. If you're a diehard Democrat, Hillary supporter, Joe Biden, vote any blue will do, don't these things make you suspect? But Graham, Trump and the Republic, yes, I know. Trump is a vile piece of shit. He's corrupt as the day is long. These two parties are awful. The thing I'm trying to get through to you, liberal, the Democrats are not better. You're telling me that the crystal meth dealer is somehow a little more ethically pure than the heroin dealer. That's what you're telling me. And I keep giving you evidence after evidence after evidence after evidence. The FBI, because that's the other thing too. We hated Mueller when he was investigating Hillary. Then when he stopped investigating, then we liked Mueller. Then we hated him when he started again. And then when he comes out against Trump, well, now we like, God. So either you're against corruption or just admit just a liar. Just say, I'm okay with corruption as long as it's my team. If my team cheats and wins, I don't give a shit. Then just at least have the dignity to say that. Don't give me this bullshit that the Democrats are somehow morally superior than the Republicans. They're all soulless, maggot-ridden, vile pieces of shit. I mean, come on. Oh, wow. Now that Joe Biden's president, great. He'll bomb the Middle East with rainbow flags around the rockets. Oh, great. The drones will have a rainbow flag. This will be so much better for the people of the Middle East. Oh, I'm so glad I had my house foreclosed on by corrupt banks that were given money from Bush and Obama. But when Obama gave the bank stimulus money that they used to steal my home and 6 million other homes, I just felt better. Because when they came and foreclosed on my home, there was a rainbow flag on the notice in the mail when they came, and the guy came and took the keys out of my house. I was like, wow, at least it was done by Obama, the first black president. That made me feel so much better. Right? Are you facing eviction? If you aren't, you going to hopefully you won't get evicted till after Biden gets sworn in. Then you'll feel better about getting evicted, won't you? I would love a president to say, our candidate even, I'm running for president, and I will pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. I will pardon them. They should be revered as heroes. That was under Obama, by the way, when those two had to go flee in exile. So don't scream for whistleblowers to show you how Trump is bad, but then pretend that these guys aren't whistleblowers because they called out your beloved Democratic Party. Trump is awful. Joe Biden is awful. The Clintons are awful. Obama, awful. The Bushes, awful. They're all awful. Stop voting for them. Stop it. Stop it. Stop the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is still evil. It's still evil. Graham, if you vote third party, you're letting Trump win. You're so stupid. You're so dumb. It's literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Thanks for watching the show, folks. I'm going to shoot it straight. We need a third party. We need an actual opposition to these two corrupt parties. Biden is not, he said he won't ban fracking. We're not going to have Medicare for all. We're not going to have student debt forgiveness. We're not going to have free college. All things that the richest country in the history of the world could pay for. We outspend the next 10 countries combined on war. We're bombing, I don't know how many countries in the middle of a pandemic, sanctioning more. We're creating more death and destruction. That's all this country does. So stop voting for these two war parties. Stop it. Stop it right now. Okay? You don't have enough information to argue this point. You don't even know what you're talking about. You read a Facebook meme. Hey, Joe Biden, Kamala. The two of them have put more black people in jail. Oh. Anyway, thanks for watching the show, ladies and gentlemen. Support what we're doing. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. Go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. YouTube is suppressing us, man. They're unsubscribing us at record numbers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you watch the ads all the way through. Hit the bell notification button. I go live 4 or 5 days a week. I drop 3 clips a day. All my videos are also over at Rockfin. All the videos I drop on YouTube are at Rockfin. Signing up for Rockfin's free. If you want the premium content, it's $10 a month, and that gets you access to everybody's premium content all over the whole platform. Ron Placone and I are doing a show November 21st. It's a Zoom show. It's at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. You can tits are $10. Just go to my Venmo at Graham-Elwood and say you want tickets to the November 21st comedy show. We'll send you a Zoom link right before showtime. Thanks for watching, everybody. You're making Gotham great again. Shave your knuckles for justice. Ba-boom. Boom, boom, pow. $100 black rack. Boom. Shaving knuckles for justice. Damn. Here's some ice cream money. God, I just need money I'm going to have a GoFundMe. I just need a third ice cream fridge in my mansion. And I want to have a separate ice cream cave. I mean, I already have a wine cave, but I can't put ice cream and wine together. What the fuck? I need a fridge for all my regular food. Then I need a regular freezer. Then I need like an ice cream freezer. Then probably a second ice cream. So just 4 freezers. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not a greedy man. And of course, an ice cream freezer on my yachts, and of course one on my private jet. I'm not a monster. I mean, I can't live like an animal though. You know what I mean? Come on. Don't have an ice cream fridge on your yacht. What are you, an animal? Going to drink your own urine? Jesus. 1 ice cream fridge. Jesus. What are you, fucking a refugee? 1 ice cream fridge. Come on. What do you just put your wine in a regular rack? You don't have a whole wine cave? How do you live that way? Ugh. What do you eat? Just larvae off the streets? Good Lord. Kate, international election monitors, please. Boom. Chelsea Manning is great too. Preach. Black Lives Matter. Hey, I'm a black man that would like to get a loan for studies. Oh, not that much. Yeah. I will post that for sure. Anytime I do a segment like that, it means I'm going to post it. Oh. All right, folks. 678 likes. Let's get it up to 700. Oh, I missed a couple. Bernie or guillotine, shave your knuckles for justice. Question: if Atlanta can flip Georgia to blue, which Outkast song should we replace our national anthem with? Bombs Over Baghdad. That's how I'd be introduced when Ron and I would go on the road. When they go, ladies and gentlemen, here's Graham Mode. I'd have Bombs Over Baghdad. Wow, I love that song. I love that song. Bombs Over Baghdad, new national anthem. Sandra Mayer, what's up, Sandra? Shave your knuckles for justice. This one's for B Green, who wants to send a super chat but can't. We help each other in our community. Right on, Sandra. Thank you so much. And thank you, B Green, for trying. I know YouTube is throttling me. I mean, I'm worried that it's just a matter of time before I'm kicked off exclusively and I'm going to be only on Rockfin. That's another reason to sign up right now for Rockfin, because that's the backup plan. Yeah, and I do a premium members live stream on Rockfin Monday nights at 8 o'clock Pacific. All right, folks. Trump would go insane if he had to live for 1 week with one of his rural supporters' house. Right on. Boom, 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 boom. I remember when Donna Brazil said on live TV she felt scared after Seth Rich was murdered. Why should she be scared if it was just a random mugging? She's just scared of random street crime? Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Boom. Let's see. Well, let's just do a quick. All right. Before we go, we'll just do a quick update. Quick update, folks. So here we are on Wednesday, November 3rd at about 8:45 at night Pacific time. According to the New York Times, it is still 253 for Joe Biden, 214 for Donald Trump. Michigan is still being counted. Joe Biden has a 2-point lead. Looks like he's got about 130,000 more votes. Wisconsin, Joe Biden has a very thin lead, about 20,000 votes. Arizona, Joe Biden has a 2-point lead and looks like about 80,000 votes in Arizona. And everyone's watching Maricopa County being counted. And then Nevada is still very, very close. It's about less than 8,000 votes in Nevada. So that's New York Times. Fox News, however, has already given Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona to Joe Biden. So if Nevada, according to Fox News, if Nevada goes for Biden, then he's won, and it won't matter even if Trump gets Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. But here's what Georgia looks like right now. Yeah, they're still counting all these votes. I don't like their interactive map as much. So here's Georgia on this. Yeah, so it is a handful of votes. You're talking about 30,000 votes. Fulton County, 94% estimated votes reporting. It's big for Biden. DeKalb County, overwhelmingly for Biden. That's 97% of the votes. So there's not much counting left to happen in Georgia, but they're still coming in. So we'll see what happens, folks. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. So Bernie Guillotine 2020, ba-boom. Fox News exits had 70% backing government health care and big majorities for climate action. Florida passed $15 minimum wage with 60% of the vote. Yep. It's huge, man. All these progressive things got passed. The country wants Medicare for all. The country wants it. The ruling class doesn't. The pharmaceutical companies and big healthcare companies that buy ad time on all the networks, they don't want it, but they can't fight those polls, man. Those are true of Bernie Guillotine 2020. Dems could have run on these things, but insisted they chose some vague sanctimonious soul of the nation BS. Yeah, that's crystal ball. Yeah, I know we've all been saying that. They ran on the soul of the nation rather than, hey, if Joe Biden would have actually been, or the Democrats put an actual someone to really beat Trump, they would have stood on the debate stage and said, he's not going to give you Medicare for all. I am. I'm going to give you $15 an hour. He's not. They could have just gone down the line and people would have said, okay, those things are going to help me. That was Bernie, but he bailed. I mean, the Democrats cheated him. No two ways about it. Bernie inspired a lot of people, myself included, and I'm grateful for that. But Bernie, he bailed, man. He bailed. So just needs Nevada. New York Times. Yeah, I just refreshed my New York Times page. It still says 253, the New York Times. They still won't give Biden, Arizona, and Michigan and Wisconsin are still in play. And then when I refresh the Fox News, it's still the same thing, 264 to 214. %9 reporting in Michigan is in. We'll probably have an answer by tomorrow. All right. Oh. Bring back Bernie. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. I will be live again tomorrow. I think in the afternoon with Jimmy. Jimmy might join me tomorrow. Johnny Tsunami. Is Johnny Tsunami in the chat? What's up, Johnny Tsunami? How is Convo Couch? How is everybody doing over there? All right, I got to go. I'm getting hungry. Dang, it's late. It's almost 9. It's late on the East Coast. I know what we're going to sing. Yeah, every time I do karaoke, they pull my my advertising stuff, so I gotta go easy on that. So I'll be doing it more on Rockfin. We don't need any minimum wage law. Just lock CEO pay and compensation to 1 to 10 ratio mark. Boom. Instant 20 to 25. Yep. Convo Couch is awesome. Listen to it. Tomorrow, America will know how they will be screwed. You got that right. You got that right. Granny Petrol for prison. Right on. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching on the Facebook and on the Rockfin. Thank you, everybody over there. Thank you for supporting me so much. 710 likes. We did it. We got over 700 likes. I love it, man. Thank you for watching. Support Kate, our moderator. There's our show, November 21st. Oh, man. Been talking a lot. I get a little bit of a headache. Yeah. Go to Rockfin. Dave Anthony is going to be on Rockfin. Lee Camp is joining Rockfin. Convo Couch is on Rockfin. Richard Medhurst, Jimmy Dore is on Rockfin. Kim Iverson is on Rockfin. Nico House is on Rockfin. Ronnie Placone, Ronnie Salami. Drink some water. Get some sleep. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the show, everybody. You're making Gotham great again. Shave your knuckles for justice. I am the League of Shadows. Bruce Wayne. Shave your knuckles for justice. Oh, wait a minute. Trey Bray. Progressive living in Southern Kentucky. Appreciate your take on Amy McGrath. Could you run a full segment on her shameful loss with Jimmy? Yeah, I'll do that. We'll talk about that tomorrow when I have Jimmy on. Yep. So that's what happens. You run a corporate Democrat, a Trump-loving Democrat against Mitch McConnell. They're going to just stick with the regular Republican. It's crazy. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Shave your knuckles for justice. Yeah.